fashioned in a way that they were to appease and live for the gods that they served. That was their life. And Paul reminds them that Christ broke them free from these things, right? This is what they're released from. The things that they thought were life and living and were going to give them the good life they wanted, they were actually prison cells they were being placed in. And Christ said, or Paul said through Christ, that they are now set free from those systems in which they thought were free, but really weren't. So we don't really know, I don't think, many of us haven't encountered, although we're in Vermont, so you will find it a lot more, pagan concepts in and around our community, right? You'll see this. So if you're thinking about what do these Galatians live like? What did that look like? You could even in our modern context, think about people, or maybe you've seen or heard of people worshiping Mother Earth, right? Or believing in karma, or practicing Eastern meditation rituals where you empty your mind so you can enter a higher plane. That's not a Jewish concept. That's not a Jesus concept. That's something that says you had to ascend out of something to get to a higher place, which is totally unbiblical, but that's the way they believed. So you have these pagan practices, right, that are there, and all these systems, all these world processes, you could even say, you don't even have to put the word religion on it. It really doesn't matter. All these spiritual practices will tell them, or tell us, that you have to earn rewards from the God of the universe, or from just the universe itself. Take just karma, for example. Karma says if you do enough good things, it builds up, and you earn enough good karma, and then you're going to get good things in return, right? That's totally not what Jesus says, but that's what people who practice that believe. It's earning your way into a sense of status or favor. That's what it is. To get to a place of peace, to appease the God, you have to know the right process to achieve that place. And Paul's reminding them and us that the gospel, the good news, is that God, through Christ, liberates us. He gives us our freedom, even though we do nothing to deserve it. He is the liberator. We cannot achieve our status of opening that cell door. We are stuck. We are blind. We are dead, as Paul said in Ephesians last week. There's nothing we can do to get out of this situation we are in. But Christ comes because of his rich mercy and grace and opens that door. And he calls us not just to open the door to set us free, but he liberates us so we can live in that freedom every single day, which is an amazing promise, right? It's amazing. So Paul hears of this Jewish Christians that come to these Gentiles under the law, and he's not just like, oh, that's kind of not great news. I'm kind of sorry to hear that. Or don't do this, but do that. No, he's furious. For Paul, following any piece of that old covenant, the law of Moses, wasn't just unnecessary, like, why are you wasting your time? It was actually placing themselves back into slavery just with a different name. That's all it was. You have freedom, he's saying, but don't choose to go back where you came from with just different trappings. Christ and Christ alone, he says, is sufficient, not just for salvation, but for actually living it out. Him and him alone. Now, when you read this, I hope, my question this week was why? Not why Jesus, but why are these people considering following these Jewish Christians, right? Why are these Gentiles who came out of something considering being placed under something else? And then I began to look a little deeper into it, and I began to realize that in ancient cultures, they were incredibly communal and interdependent, okay? They weren't individuals living out their lives and mildly interacting with people. No, everything depended on each other to survive. And things like religion weren't just a piece of life, it was life. That was it, right? So the temple on Friday night, that's where your friends hung out. So you go to the temple and hang out with your friends.